Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Apologies, I'll be doing this session in English. I hope that's okay. So I'm José Dores. I'm a solutions architect at Cloudflare, and today I'm going to be speaking a little bit about zero trust in the area of artificial intelligence and how Cloudflare can help organizations deal with this new era. So a couple of weeks ago, I was having lunch with my father, and he was talking to me about the latest conference he went to. So my father is a doctor, a dermatologist, and he sometimes goes to these conferences to learn about the latest developments on medicine, on this area of specialization. And I guess by the topic of my session, you can figure out what was the session about. So it was all about AI in medicine. So right now, there are already AI bots that can help doctors with diagnosis based on the symptoms that they provide. There are also AI bots that are able to check images of skin marks for diseases, and many other AI tools already in the field of medicine. So medicine is already being reshaped by AI. And these conferences, like the one that my father went to, are happening for all sorts of industries, right? Everyone has or will have a usage for AI. So the opportunity is massive, and a lot of investment is going into it. I don't know if you know about this website. There's an AI for that. So it's an AI search index that shows all sorts of AI tools to do all sorts of tasks. So right now in this search index, there are already more than 20K AI tools to do all manner of things. Last time I checked, it was back in September. At that time, there were only 15K. So in just 2 months, there was a growth of 40% in AI tools being available there. And there's also a lot of interest on the user side. So right now, more than 30 million people go to this website to figure out what new AI tools are and how they can use them for their projects. So of course, people are not just using these AI tools to help them with their personal projects or hobbies. They are bringing these tools to work. So in a survey done last year, 43% of employees said they already used AI to carry on some work tasks, and more than 2/3 of them did so without even telling their bosses. So I guess the question is, are employees using these tools in a way that is wisely and safe, right? And I think Joshua Bach put it quite nicely. The current state of AI is a bit like an ox, so it's a bit dangerous. It can be very strong, stronger than humans, but it really needs a lot of constant human guidance or narrow fencing, right? We cannot really assume the grace of a horse which will take us to where we want to go in a straightforward way, right? So if today we go to an AI tool and we ask it to generate some code for us, right? It will happily generate code as we like according to the input parameters that we've put there. But we wouldn't just go grab it and deploy it in production right away, right? It could have lots of bugs, not work at all, or work in all the wrong ways, right? So it would be an insane thing to do, and that's kind of where we are right now with AI. But we still want to use these tools because they might only take us like 90% of the way there, but they can do it in like a fraction of the time, right? So we really need to be mindful of how to use these tools, and organizations and employees are still figuring out all the ways they can use these AI tools. And until they can figure it out, it will kind of hinder the adoption of AI tools. But it is a problem that will take care of itself with time. Like, these tools are improving at a very rapid pace. But we also need to be mindful of other challenges with AI tools, and security is a big one. So for organizations that want to use AI tools, there's a lot of concern about sharing sensitive data with these tools, especially if we think about free AI tools like ChatGPT and others. A lot of times they opt in users to grant access to their input prompts to train future models of the tool, right? And so we need to be, organizations are mindful and a bit afraid of letting employees share confidential data with these tools. For organizations that want to use these AI tools or want to develop their own AI tools, then they also need to think about security, because now attackers are already exploiting these tools today with novel attacks, where they can do things like data exfiltration from private data from within the models, and it's also a big a source of concern. And the other one is also that these tools are these AI models are very expensive to run, and this also can be a security concern, because attackers might be trying to do denial of wallets attacks, where they just want to create huge bills for organizations to pay. So some examples: Samsung completely banned ChatGPT and similar tools from their environment after they discovered that some developers were uploading proprietary code to these tools. So they completely blocked it, which is kind of a blunt approach, because that will also negate all the promises of AI tools. And these productivity benefits and effectiveness of AI tools are actually being used by everyone. So even attackers are already exploiting these tools to make better phishing campaigns, for example. So typically, we would spot a phishing email by having some translation issues or some grammatical errors. So these are no longer going to be there, because even attackers are using these tools to make very good phishing emails that are very hard to detect. So really everyone is using AI tools today. And like I mentioned, there are novel types of attacks that are being tried out against this new field of AI tools. So there are attacks like prompt injection attacks, where attackers can, through prompts, trick AI models to reveal private information, even from their own training data, that should remain confidential. That is one topic. The other one is when we start having these AI tools that actually can take actions, like writing an email and sending an email for you. They can also be tricked to start sending, for example, malicious emails for you. So there are a lot of new risk concerns that we should think about, and that's why OWASP has already published a list of the top 10 risks for AI tools, particularly LLM applications, that we need to be mindful of. But even with all these security concerns that we need to be mindful of, they should not stop us from adopting these tools, right? The productivity gains that we can get from them, and all the novel ways we can do things at work, we should really find a way to use them safely. Because if we don't, our competitors will do even, right? So the goal should be to enable the safe use of AI tools, so wherever they reside, without sacrificing performance for users. And the good news is that we already have the tools, the processes, and the solutions to do this effectively, right? So if we think about zero trust approaches that a lot of organizations are already applying to their network infrastructure, basically what we need to do is extend these principles to a new set of applications, these AI tools. And so what do I mean by a zero trust approach is that no user or device should be trusted by default, and all access must be continuously verified. So in this case, extending this model to AI tools as well. So this is also where we can help as Cloudflare. We have a solution called Cloudflare One, which is our SASE platform for network modernization, through which we can connect and protect people and organizations. So employees can basically work from anywhere. They can work from the office, they can work from home, or they can work from any public space, and they will always have the same consistent user experience and the same security controls. And they can connect securely to internal resources on the organization, because we can also connect on-prem data centers and public clouds directly to Cloudflare and provide a secure access through Cloudflare to these resources. When employees are then browsing out to the internet and they are accessing any type of public AI tool on the internet, traffic will start to flow through Cloudflare, so we can see that traffic and implement the guardrails necessary to make sure these tools are used in a safe way. Okay? So how can we secure the use of AI? We can do it in 3 steps, let's say. The first one is about monitoring usage. So really understand what AI tools employees are using, even without the IT knowledge. The second one is then to control who and what can actually access these AI tools. And then finally, for the people that can access these tools, let's put some guardrails about what they can share with these tools, like restricting data uploads. So as organizations start to use something like Cloudflare One, all traffic from users before it goes out to the internet will go through Cloudflare. So we get that visibility that then we can share with the IT teams, right? They'll be able to see all the SaaS applications that the employees are using including all these generative AI applications, LLMs, and so on. And then people can start to make decisions about which ones are acceptable or not. We can go for a straight block of some of these AI tools because they might not have any business value, or maybe they have some questionable approach to user privacy, or any other reason. We can go ahead and do a straight block of those so they are not accessible. And then for the other ones, have a more fine-grained control. So this is for public AI applications. For the ones that are private, so the AI tools that you want to self-host within your own data centers or public clouds, then you can build zero trust policies to say who can actually access those, and we can log every request for visibility. We can actually extend these policies not just to people, but also to other machines, so that applications can also have access to AI tools. And we can do this by automating authentication through tokens that, again, I'll always log every request and can be revoked at any time to really implement that zero trust approach. And then finally, for people that are approved to use some sort of AI tools, we will implement those guardrails so they can use them safely. So by having traffic go through Cloudflare, we can implement very easily and effectively policies like data loss prevention policies, where we can create rules that are scoped to AI tools using application lists that are maintained and created by Cloudflare. And then you can implement data loss prevention profiles that will be on the lookout for financial information, personal identifiable information, credentials and secrets, and even source code. And if you find any type of these data being uploaded to these tools, it will just be blocked. Okay, so that's one way we can restrict data uploads. The other one is actually we can go beyond it. We can completely isolate AI applications in a remote browser. So what that means is it means that when a user goes to an AI application, actually that page will be rendered not locally on his machine, but on the closest point of presence of Cloudflare. We'll generate a browser on demand, and then we'll only stream the results to the user. And so by doing so, IT admins can configure on Cloudflare user action restrictions. So we can say file uploads or file downloads are not allowed. Copy pasting is not allowed. We can even disable the keyboard, right? So a possible use case for chatbots would be that users can no longer copy paste generated AI code from these tools back to their own machines, because it could be potentially unsafe code, right? The key point is that all of these controls, data loss prevention or remote browser isolation, these are delivered from any point of presence of Cloudflare across the world. And right now, Cloudflare is always very close to where users are. We are less than 50 milliseconds away from 95% of the internet population. And so that means we don't need to backhaul traffic to some certain location to implement these controls. We can really implement them as close to the users as possible to really make sure that we can ensure the safe use of AI without impacting user experience and performance. But also, like I mentioned, AI is reshaping all sorts of industries. And right now, we are at a stage where 67% of organizations are already using AI in some sort of software development processes. So that's another area where we at Cloudflare want to help organizations. So for those that want to build AI applications, we want to give them the tools so that they can do that safely and remain in control. So we can do this in multiple ways. So one way is by using AI Gateway. So when doing so, if you are developing a service or an application that needs to talk with AI providers, needs to talk, for example, with OpenAI or Anthropic, instead of these services or applications talking directly with these AI providers, they can talk through Cloudflare's AI Gateway, which in turn will actually connect directly to these AI providers. By doing so, you'll get much better visibility and insights about how the requests are going to these AI providers, and you can better control how your AI application will scale. You can implement response caching, you can do rate limiting to these AI providers to really control the costs of using these AI providers, and you can even increase the reliability of your AI applications with model fallback. Let's imagine your application uses OpenAI as the primary provider, and OpenAI happens to be down. Then Cloudflare can automatically switch over to Anthropic, and so your application keeps responding to user requests, okay? And the great thing is that it's very easy to set up. With just one line of code, you can get started. So that's one way. The other one is for organizations that are building their own LLM models. We are creating a firewall for these models, a protection layer that you can put in front of these models. So it looks like a web application firewall, and it has features like a normal web application firewall. You can do advanced rate limiting. You can do sensitive data detection. But then we are also developing features which are specific for LLM models. You can do things like prompt validation. So if someone tries to send a malicious prompt to an LLM, like those prompt injections that I talked about that are trying to abuse an LLM, we'll find those and block them. And also on the response side, if your LLM tries to respond to a user with some offensive response or some problematic response, we'll block that response before it gets to a user. So this one is not available just yet, but it's going to be available during 2025. Finally, on another topic, for those who are website owners and content creators and so on, we also want to give you the means to regain control of how you deal with these AI platforms. With the AI audit, you can see all these different AI bots that are crawling your websites and scraping content to train another AI model or to index your site to AI search engines. And it will also, in addition to show you all these bots, will also show you what is the content that is more popular on your website for these models, okay? And now that you have this visibility, you can decide how you want to engage with these AI platforms, right? You can go ahead and completely block all AI bots until you rethink of how you want to engage with these AI platforms, or you can already start creating policy saying, only some AI bots can crawl some of my content, and so therefore you can remain a valid destination, not just be consumed by these AI platforms that will just give the answers instead of directing traffic to your website. So regardless of the ways you use AI or interact with AI, we want to give you the tools so that you can remain in control and use AI safely. So there is one final way that Cloudflare can help you remain in control in this AI era, and that one is to actually go ahead and build AI application directly on top of Cloudflare. So right now we are deploying Workers AI across all our network, and so all the dark blue dots that you see on the map are all the locations of Cloudflare where you can already run AI inference directly. So you can run AI applications directly close to users on the edge, and we are working to make all the other dots also dark blue dots where you can run AI apps, so that really we can get to that objective of providing the fastest possible AI-powered applications directly from the edge and close to users, wherever they happen to be. And again, all these solutions that I've talked before, you can place them, of course, in front of Workers AI to secure your applications. And so with that, thank you so much. This was really just scratching the surface of what Cloudflare can do with a connectivity cloud. If you're thinking about any other, so AI is a very big hot topic today, but we can actually help with a lot of other challenges that organizations have. So if you're thinking about how to modernize and simplify how you connect and protect applications, peoples, or networks, or you're thinking of how you can increase developer velocity, I encourage you to go to our booth. We are sure that we have interesting solutions to a lot of the challenges you may have. And at the very least, I'm sure you will have very interesting conversations if you visit us there. So with that, thank you so much for your time, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.
Thanks to you, José. Thank you so much for your talk here at the Jornadas STIC. First time here?
Yes, first time in Madrid for the CCN. Yeah, thank you.
Have you enjoyed?
Oh, yes, very much so. Yeah.
Great. So a question for you from the assistants of the Congress. So limiting AI can be seen by employees as an invitation to perform their tasks by their own means. So how could a particular use of business data be avoided?
So that's a bit what I try to convey, right? People will try to use these tools because it helps themselves, right? So trying to ask them not to use these tools, I think it's a fool's errand. People will use them anyway.
Sure.
So we need to find ways where we kind of steer people to the right place, right? So some of the ways we can do that is to say, okay, this one you want to go, you cannot go because we have some concerns, so we block that one, but we can inform you that at the same time you can go to these other tools, which we can ensure is their safety. And we can ensure them in multiple ways. One way is that organizations actually acquire like enterprise versions of these tools where there are more controls about data privacy and so on. But then also to put those guardrails like the ones I've talked about, where we can, for certain types of information that should never get to these tools, like internal employee sensitive personal information. I don't think there's a good reason to be uploading this to any tool, right? So for those, we can implement these controls that will prevent this situation from happening, and again, in a way that does not really impact how users are on their day-to-day work, so they can be still effective and not too bothered.
Employees, users are gonna use the AI.
Yeah.
So
and I think we should encourage them actually, because there's so much you can do. It's incredible, and I think we need exposure to it, so we really understand how we can be more effective with these tools. Because if we don't use them personally, others will use, and even for our own career will be less relevant. So I think it's also part of everyone's responsibility to understand how they can make the best out of them and not be afraid of them. Yeah.
We need to be one step ahead and not behind. So
in a
thank
way,
you so much, José, and for talk to us. And it's been great to learn how you approach this AI strategy at Cloudflare. So thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.